EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and this episode is proudly being sponsored by Jacqueline Bradley. She's the owner of Parties Picture Perfect, and they are a one-stop shop for party and event planning, decorations, photo booths, and so much more. Life is an event. Make it memorable. That's what Jackie says. And if you have a corporate event, wedding, birthday party, anniversary, quinceañera, whatever the party, Jackie and her team will create an amazing atmosphere and coordinate everything. For more information, call 772-404-8924 or visit partiespictureperfect.com. They're also available on Facebook and Instagram, and the photos of the work they do, it's truly beautiful. Now, joining me in the studio today is a very courageous woman who overcame an incredibly traumatic event as a young girl. She's now prepared to give back and help other women who have suffered from violence and abuse. And Kris Conyers, she is the founder of Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow Women. And she's here to not only share her story, but talk about the work that she and her amazing team are about to embark on. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you for having me here.
Yep, I'm very happy to have you here. And Jackie is not only a friend of yours, but and we're going to talk about your launch party.
Yes.
When I walked into that venue, beautiful. And then I was watching her like a pro with floral arrangements. And for that particular event, they weren't real flowers, but I had to touch them because the way they were unboxed even, it looked like beautiful, fresh, like, oh my goodness. So Jackie's amazing.
Yes.
But we'll talk about that later. Before we start talking about your newly formed nonprofit, Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow Women, just share a little bit about your background and why you wanted to start it.
Okay, great. I started in my professional career as a insurance, life, and health producer. And I decided after a little bit of time that I wanted to go back to school, and I got my degree in human resource management. I now offer my clients a full outside human resource experience with offering services like bookkeeping and payroll and insurance.
You're a businesswoman. You're a very busy businesswoman.
Yes, and I have been blessed to have a few nonprofits as clients. And I mention that because that is what led me to inspire me when I saw the need and the opportunity to be able to help empower women who have suffered abuse.
I do. I think that's wonderful. And you overcame a lot. And now you want to give back yourself. And I think that's amazing. And we're going to dive into that. But Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow Women, sometimes you refer to it as YTT Women for short, to shorten it, which I understand. Now, this was to help women overcome violence and abuse. And I almost stuttered in the beginning to put the word domestic, but this is just violence and abuse. Like and domestic falls under that overarching umbrella. Now, what are some of the objectives that you and your team want to achieve with this?
Okay, well, our main purpose is to embrace the platform that the Me Too has provided and ignited for us.
Yeah.
YTT is the progression to the Me Too movement, and we feel like we can amplify that they hear us now and advocate and help and further in ensuring that their voices are heard. We currently are looking into 3 key initiatives that we're really focusing on. And the first is advocacy and education. We'd like to reach out to the community leaders and first responders to help ensure that victims are getting a victim-centered response.
Oh, sure. When something first happens, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we also would like to amplify marginalized voices. I feel like by platforming their voices and their stories, it will help their emotional and their mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we'd like to provide empowerment. And we have a tote bag campaign right now that we're kicking off, and it's just filled with essentials of self-care items for women who are abused or, have some kind of abuse
issue that they're dealing with. Absolutely, because they themselves are the last person that they don't even think they're worthy of care. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that. And what's the third?
The third was the empowerment.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because what I also want to know is what I want people to know is the words yesterday, today, tomorrow have a significant meaning.
Yes.
And when you said that at a networking event, everybody went, huh. So explain that, please. Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking me about that, because the meaning of YTT is so important to our foundation that we put it in our mission statement, which is to empower women by using the women of all generations by implementing the knowledge of yesterday. Mm-hmm. Today is the power, and tomorrow is the hope to empower and raise awareness for women of sexual abuse.
Yeah, and a brighter future, and hopefully a significant drop off in women that suffer abuse and suffer trauma. Now, your story is amazing, and at your event, what I recommend for future, whenever you share your story, the centerpiece should have a tissue box. Okay? Because there really was not a dry eye in the room. And so what I'd like for you to do is share a little bit about your story. And this is so eye-opening that there is a major newspaper in South Florida that is going to start to put together a story about this. And then you're going to talk about your book again in a little bit, but you have a book coming out. So what would you like to just share about your story?
Okay. Well, for me, I became a survivor of sexual violence at the age of 11. Mm. And I lived so many decades, like many other victims of sexual violence, and feeling shame. But I am blessed to be here today and be able to share my story when so many of the women the perpetrator that did this to me are not here to share the story.
He, unfortunately for these other women, after you, by the grace of God, you survived.
Yes.
But there were many other young women and young girls that he murdered.
Yes.
So this is, Cindy, this is a serial killer situation we're talking about here. Yeah.
I feel like so many decades, they're still talking about this story from the sensationalized sides of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have the story that hasn't been told, and it's really more of the before and the aftermath of this criminal. And I feel it's important to share it. I feel like I realize that it is my calling at this point to use my voice for that.
Yeah, most definitely. And, he is not walking this earth any longer.
No.
I am not upset about that at all.
Yes.
But the thing is that, yes, you can find this all over the news and even in YouTube, and it was on every major, news outlet and, Dateline and things like that. But the thing is that where you're coming from is how to help women overcome it.
Yes.
So that's where YTT comes into play. Is yes, this is what happened, but now this is what we're going to do for women, and we're going to get to Marie in the second half because she said something at the launch party that I really liked, but I'll get to that in a moment. So you know what I think we're going to do before we take a commercial break, Cindy? I would like for you to share your phone number and your email for because there might be some women or family members that are listening and watching to this and want them to get in touch with you. So how do people get in touch with you?
Okay, currently, you can definitely email me at chris@yttwomen.org. I'm using my mobile number right now, which is 423-544-1269. We have a website that is basic right now. We are in the process of having our website built, but that is yttwomen.org as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Facebook. And that's...
And Instagram, too.
Yes, Facebook is all yesterday, today, tomorrow, women, completely spelled out. And then we also... You can get the hashtag They Hear Us Now and social media. You can put that in there and it'll bring up all of our stuff as well.
Well, very good. So Kris Conyers and I have a lot more to discuss about yesterday, today, tomorrow women when we return. Stay tuned.
Happy holidays. Let Evergreen Media get your business on everybody's shopping list. Hire Evergreen Media to place advertising on streaming TV, radio, even social media. Contact Evergreen Media at egreenmedia.com.
Right now at Sunshine Furniture, it's holiday sale time. You can save up to 50% on selected groups of indoor and outdoor furniture from Lloyd Flanders, Telescope, Windward, Capri, Seawinds, Universal, Lexington, and lots more. Sofas, love seats, dining sets, patio groups, occasional chairs, dining and bedroom sets, all on sale just in time to make Santa say ho, ho, ho. We have the largest selection of coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast, including a gallery of Berlin Garden, Pollywood, Hooker, Tommy Bahama, and Lexington. Also, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half off. And don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store just across the street from our main location with lots of new closeout and markdown pieces. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com. Come in now for our holiday half-price sale.
Sunshine Furniture.
Celebrate Christmas the old Florida way at Marsh Landing Restaurant. Enjoy traditional dinners with all the trimmings. Make your reservations now and let Marsh Landing do all the work. Marsh Landing in historic downtown Fellsmere. Online at marshlandingrestaurant.com.
Blue Dolphin Pools strives to provide quality service with a well-trained staff in the field and in the office. They want you to know that your pool or spa investment means much more to them than just another account. They believe you have entrusted them with your investment, and they'll do their best to see that it stays in top condition. Blue Dolphin Pool has been in business over 35 years, setting them apart from the competition. Residential or commercial, Blue Dolphin will keep you in the swim. 567-5853.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and this episode is proudly being sponsored by Jacqueline Bradley of Parties Picture Perfect. I'll go into detail again about her business towards the end of the show, but I want to just dive back in because when we were mentioning your book before the commercial break,
yes,
I thought that we had another question about it then, but no, it's going to come out in 2025.
Yes.
And who is it being published by?
I'm using Starfish Stories Publishing, and they have actually set up a link to join an email wait list, and it just gives you announcements as to how things are progressing and stuff like that. And that's on their Starfish Stories publishing website.
Okay. All right. Very good. And then there was another thing you wanted to mention. Do you want to mention it again about, it was like a kind of like a tagline, how you sum things up, I think it was.
Right. When I think about how I began to think about this, I felt like using the nonprofit was the way when I knew that there was a need for some kind of sexual abuse to wrap around these women.
Mm-hmm.
I just said that I think I know how to accomplish that, and that's with YTT women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that is wonderful. And again, you said that every now and then you would have these paralyzing moments when you were reliving what happened to you. And then you said, no, I'm done with that.
Yes.
And by doing this nonprofit and becoming so public,
it's switching the narrative.
Yeah.
I wanted to rewrite the story. I've done this for decades. It'll come back into my life, whether it's on a Netflix series or whether it's a phone call from somebody in Australia writing a book.
Yeah.
It would just be thrown into my lap and paralyze me.
Yeah.
And so I decided this time when it came up in May, I had to do something different, because I wanted a different ending.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And you're going to help other women that are hearing this, whether it's now, next week, next year, because this is available for replay on the podcast and all of that. But they're going to say, okay, I'm ready now to change my narrative and my story. So
I've already heard it so many times. I tell a story, I get 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So now the launch party that you had, it was on December 2nd, and that was at a beautiful historic building in Fort Pierce, where the physical address is 500 Orange Avenue, and the event venue is called 500 Orange, and it is truly beautiful. So in addition to you getting up and sharing your story, you also had a speaker, and you spoke about your board.
Yes.
So you have time now to brag about your board.
Okay,
these ladies are amazing.
Okay. Yes, we were so excited to share our vision of YTT women with everybody at the launch party. And we have some very dedicated women that are on our board and that are volunteer key staff. Mm-hmm. We have, as president, we have Dawn Spector. She's a retired RN. Mm-hmm. Marcia McIntosh is also retired RN. And then as our treasurer, we have a renowned CPA. Her name is Kathleen Schaefer. She is known with the nonprofit world as a CPA in Palm Beach County. And it was also very important for us to showcase some of the girls that help me with the day-to-day to make sure that we're successful.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No worries.
And that was with Hannah and Casey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Hannah, what is Hannah's last name? Pelgren? Palmgren. Okay, I was testing you. I knew it. I was just testing Kris. And then not Marcia, Casey. Casey's last name?
Casey is her last name is Armour.
Okay, very good. And so now Varee Jenkins.
We are so blessed to have Varee.
Yeah.
She has had over 30 plus years in the nonprofit experience. Mm-hmm. And she is the CEO of the Federations of Families of Florida. Mm-hmm. And she brings so much talent to us. She, for instance, she knows how to get grants. Mm-hmm. And grants are important. And
in the nonprofit world, oh my gosh. Yes.
And we are looking to bring home some of that money to Indian River County and help provide for victims of abuse.
Yeah, and there was a couple of things that Varee mentioned. One of them was that there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of, like she said, silos of help. But she said that YTT, that one of your objectives is going to kind of put an umbrella over the silos.
Yes.
So that when people come to you, you're going to be a conduit for, we're going to have you work with this group and that group. And so I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yes.
She's very smart like that. Then she also said something when she got up to speak. And she mentioned that we don't want to forget about the men.
Yes.
And that there are, unfortunately, evil people in the world that is all that they're there to do. But then there are men that will commit horrible acts, but there is a way to get them the help so that they recognize, they fix the hurt that they have, and then they don't do that again. And maybe they can go on and help other men as well. So I liked that she said that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. Okay, so now you're coming down from this, successful launch party. It was a wonderful thing to do. What can we expect from you and your group in 2025?
Well, we were so excited to receive so much support from people at the launch party. It was overwhelming, actually. And currently, YTT board members and the key staff are looking at different plans for the 2025 events. This would include some different fundraising events. We'd like to do some workshops for women. And we would also like to schedule speaking engagements to help advocate and educate about the women's sexual violence.
Okay, that's great. And then also, I forgot with Varee, she also did say that the nonprofits can't do the amazing work that they do without the support of the community.
Yes.
So what can the community do for yesterday, today, tomorrow women, individuals and organizations? Let's talk about that. Okay,
great. Well, as a newly founded nonprofit, we're currently have launched a campaign called Turn Pain into Purpose. And that is to raise funds for basically startup costs.
Okay.
We're grateful to all kinds of donors, whether they be corporate or individual donors. But I also would like to make a call to the community for three key things that we could really use, and that's sharing our cause, number one, of course, and engagement. Engagement helps keep us going. It helps us feel good. And then number three is really important, and that is to, I want the community to give us ideas too of how, because, we can't just assume I know or, my board knows, but the community can give us ideas of what is needed out there as well.
That's very good. And what I want to make sure, because Jackie did a tremendous amount of work, right? So I want to make sure that people understand, okay? Jacqueline Bradley, she goes by Jackie. She's the owner of Parties Picture Perfect. They are the one-stop shop for party and event planning. You will not be disappointed. Decorations, photo booths, like everything in between. And I love what she says. Life is an event. Make it memorable. So any type of corporate party, personal party, any type of party you can think of, she can help you with it, coordinating and setting up and breaking down. She and her team are amazing at creating the vibe and atmosphere. Her phone number, 772-404-8924. Online as Parties Picture Perfect, website partiespictureperfect.com, because she did a lot of work.
She
and
really
even
did.
Me as an MC, it was my pleasure to do that, as a volunteer. There's a lot of in-kind stuff that was done. I know we have 1 minute, we got to wrap this up, but I'm tying into this because with engagement, I told everybody there, just start following on social media. And then I was grabbing people by the elbow and looking at their phone and double checking after the event was over. I took my role very serious.
You did wonderful.
That was my pleasure.
I appreciated you so much.
So in addition to in-kind sponsors, then corporate sponsorships, I really want people to understand how amazing this is to get behind. individuals as well, donations, even items and things. You're going to have it all on your website so people will know how to help. And we really do have to wrap up. So thank you for being here, because you're helping untold countless women. And my name is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. Until next week, I miss you already.